Have you ever noticed your loved one moving a little slower lately?
Not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet, almost imperceptible shift that makes you pause.
A familiar habit fades away.
A story they've told 100 times, now missing its ending.
A smile that feels distant.
These small moments might seem trivial. But sometimes, behind the silence, lies a journey slowly drawing to a close.
The truth is, the final chapter of a life rarely arrives overnight.
The human body often whispers warnings, subtle, persistent, sometimes for months or even a year before time finally runs out. But these signs often seem so small, so ordinary, that most of us overlook them.
It's only in hindsight, when the moment has passed, that we realize they were there all along. We just didn't know how to see them. That's why this video was created.
Today, we're going to explore 5 subtle signs that may gently signal your loved one is entering a new phase of life.
Maybe you've already noticed some of them. Maybe you're noticing them right now.
Understanding these signs helps you prepare, not just medically, but emotionally.
With your whole heart. It helps you care better. Show up more fully. And cherish each precious moment that remains.
Because the final days, when embraced with grace and understanding, don't have to be filled with sorrow.
They can be a time of deep connection, love, and peace. Stay with us until the end of this video. These 5 signs are more than just information, they are an invitation to be fully present with someone you love. Now, let's begin this journey together.
Sign number 1: Unexplained weight loss.
Have you ever noticed a loved one looking thinner lately?
Not from dieting or exercise, but from a quiet, subtle shift like a shadow stretching across the floor at dusk.
That once fitted shirt now hangs loose. Belts cinch tighter but pants still sag.
Even favorite meals seem to lose their spark.
Many assume it's just aging. But when weight drops without explanation, it's rarely just age, it could be the first whisper of a body quietly preparing for its next chapter.
The body struggles to absorb nutrients.
Muscle fades. Energy wanes. Eating becomes effort, not enjoyment. Taste buds dull. Once loved dishes become mere bites of obligation.
And when meals are skipped, it's not by choice, it's because appetite fades like a distant memory.
This isn't about being picky or lazy.
It's the body's quiet language, conserving, retreating, like a lamp dimming at twilight. Sometimes, behind the weight loss lies an unspoken struggle, heart failure, kidney decline, or a chronic condition lurking long before symptoms surfaced.
In some cases, the change isn't just physical, it's emotional.
Quiet sadness, or fading memories that steal the desire to eat.
You may try everything: more food, supplements, encouragement.
But if the weight still slips away, perhaps it's no longer about nourishment. In those moments, it's not about pushing another bite.
It's about being present.
Making each meal comforting, gentle, and full of love.
Help them stay hydrated. Create calm. Preserve dignity and peace.
Because sometimes, what matters most isn't more time, but making the time left truly matter.
Sign number 2: Sleep more, wake less.
Some days, you might notice your loved one slipping deeper into sleep.
Mornings come late.
Afternoons drift by in naps.
Evenings fade right after dinner.
The conversations grow shorter.
TV shows no longer hold their attention. Walks become rare. Everything feels slower, like life is gently lowering its tempo. Many assume older folks just sleep more. But when sleep becomes excessive and waking brings no energy, it might be the body's way of stepping back. Sleep now becomes more than rest, it becomes refuge.
A place of quiet when the body no longer has the fuel to keep going like before.
Inside, biological systems begin to slow. Circulation eases. Metabolism winds down.
The body chooses rest over exertion. To others, it might look like laziness or loss of interest. But in truth, this is part of a natural rhythm, like autumn quietly following summer. What matters now isn't pushing them to wake, but surrounding them with peace, soft light, gentle voices, and unhurried presence. When they do wake, offer something light, a kind story, a hand to hold. These moments matter more than ever, even if they last only a few precious minutes.
Remember, more sleep isn't always bad.
But if rest begins to take over their days entirely, listen closely, it might be the body's gentlest way of saying goodbye. Sign number 3, slow healing, frequent infections, when the body's defenses begin to fade. Sometimes, the quietest signals speak the loudest. A minor scratch that refuses to heal. A cold that lingers longer than it should. Then you begin to notice, these little illnesses show up more often.
A harmless cough now drains all energy.
A tiny cut on the hand, once healed in days, now takes a week, maybe longer.
The skin around it grays, heals, breaks, and reopens. This isn't just fragile skin or bad luck. It's a sign that the immune system, once a strong wall of defense, is thinning layer by layer.
Blood no longer flows as freely.
Nutrients and oxygen arrive too late.
The body still fights, but it fights slower, weaker, more alone.
Sometimes, there's no fever. No violent cough. Just unusual tiredness. A quiet disinterest in meals.
A clouded sense of clarity. That's when we must pay closer attention, because those tiny signs might be the only way the body can speak.
Now, the goal isn't full recovery. It's to keep skin clean and moist. To ease the pain. To prevent new infections from taking hold.
A soft cloth.
A gentle hand.
A kind word in the morning, sometimes, those are the best medicines we have left to give. Sign number 4, breath changes and voice fading, when every inhale begins to speak. One day, you suddenly notice that familiar voice isn't as clear. Each sentence is shorter, softer, and seems to take more effort to speak. Breathing, too, has changed. Sometimes shallow and rushed. Other times, uneven like hidden waves, never steady, never deep. They used to talk for hours. Now, a few lines leave them tired. Even laughter brings on shortness of breath.
These changes aren't emotional. Not sadness or disinterest. They're the body's way of conserving its final reserves of breath. As the lungs weaken, the chest no longer expands like before.
Less air flows in, oxygen travels slower.
And the voice, once a bridge between hearts, fades like a distant echo. Some begin to wheeze.
Others breathe with a soft rattle at night.
And some simply stop talking. Not because they don't want to, but because they can't. This is when presence matters more than words. Because sometimes, silence becomes the space where true listening happens. A held hand. A glance of understanding. A breath shared. These seemingly small gestures hold the deepest connection. Sign number 5, cognitive fading and emotional retreat, when the mind gently closes its door. There's a kind of silence that feels different. Not out of anger. Not from tiredness. But because the mind is gently stepping away. Someone once sharp and lively now struggles with the familiar. They repeat stories. Ask the same question again and again. Get lost inside their own home. This confusion isn't loud. It's quiet, like a thin fog, slowly blurring memories, softening time, and dimming even the faces of loved ones. Moments of clarity still come bright and true. But then, just as suddenly, they drift away. Like a calm lake rippling with uncertainty. This isn't just getting old and forgetful. The brain needs blood, needs oxygen, just like the heart and lungs. When that flow slows, so does clarity. But it doesn't stop at memory. They begin to pull away from the world. Fewer words. Less eye contact. Choosing stillness over engagement. It's not that they don't care. It's just that sounds, faces, emotions, they become too overwhelming to hold. Some become anxious. Others irritable. And some strangely calm. It's not a shift in personality, it's the brain adjusting to a body slowing down. This is when we stop pulling them back and instead, stay by their side. Gently. Patiently. Without expecting words. Because even when they say nothing, they still feel you there. Love, even unspoken, is often the last memory that remains. Closing thought, this journey is never walked alone. As this video draws to a close, take a moment. not to feel sorrow,
but to pause and truly reflect. Life, much like a sunset, does not vanish in an instant.
it softens, slows, and then quietly fades.
Weight loss, deep fatigue, altered breathing, fading memory, and repeated infections.
These aren't endings. They are whispers, gentle signals from a body transitioning. Understanding these signs isn't about fearing death. It's about facing it with clarity, with calm, with compassion. Because when we recognize what the body is trying to say, we can respond with grace, with care that's more present, with love that's more meaningful.
And most of all, we can help our loved ones feel not alone in their final chapter.
If you're seeing some of these signs in someone you love, take a deep breath. You are not alone.
Many families have walked this path.
Yes, it's tender. Yes, it's difficult.
But with understanding comes strength.
With awareness comes peace. Preparing isn't about giving up. It's about making every remaining moment count. With dignity, presence, and warmth.
Herb, thank you for staying with us to the end.
If something in this video touched you, leave us a comment.
Share what you've learned, or how you'll care differently, starting today. And if you believe this message deserves to be shared, please like, subscribe, and pass it on to someone who might need it.
We'll see you again in the next video,
where we continue learning how to live, love, and understand life more deeply.